I'm Camilla Ammirati. I'm the Director of Research and Programs here at TAUNY, and along with Ruth McWilliams, I'm the co-curator of this exhibit, the St. Lawrence County Barn Quilts exhibit. Over the past few weeks, Ruth has started and will be continuing to take you on short video visits to the exhibit to highlight elements of the presentation. Today, we're going to look at examples that show how people use and make and display barn quilts to show their care for others and to support others in their community in all kinds of different ways. The first example we'll look at is by a barn quilt maker named Rose Barnhart of Messina, New York. This one on top of the wall here is by her, and she's made many barn quilts, and many of them show images that say something about the people she's made them for, who are often loved ones, and she makes them for them to say something about their interests and their hobbies, and to show her care for them by making them as gifts for them and helping tell stories about who they are and what they care about. The next example is the Lover's Knot here by Joan Olin of Canton, New York. And she says that when she chose that pattern, she chose it because she and her husband have been married for 57 years and she was feeling a little sentimental. So she used that barn quilt as a way to say something about her love for him and to share that story with others. The next one here is the Flaming Chalice by Barb Beekman of Canton, New York. And I'll share some of her words. She says that I am a part of a group at my church that attends to our memorial garden, where loved ones' ashes may be interred. Part of the interment process is preparing the grave. We had been using an old board to keep water out until the interment ceremony. I asked Ruth if she had any odd-sized MDO boards and then decided I needed to paint it. Barb has worked with Ruth McWilliams, as have many, to learn how to make barn quilts and to make them alongside her. So this is a case where she made this barn quilt, or used barn quilt methods, to decorate something that had been just an ordinary piece of material, and she made it something more special that would help bring comfort to people in a really difficult time. That's something that people do with barn quilts in all kinds of different ways, including using them to raise money to support causes and individuals. So there are a couple examples of that I'd like to show you. Here we have a picture of Cindy Hennessy, who won a barn quilt at a 2019 raffle to benefit the town of Colton tourism beautification activities. So it's often the case that people will make and raffle barn quilts to raise money for community groups. And in Colton, often students and other community members help make those barn quilts to use for fundraising purposes. We also have an example here of a barn quilt made by Pam Winchester of Hammond, New York, to support John Scarlett of Racine, New York, who's a blacksmith, a beloved community member who passed away in the time since she made this. But in 2016, when he was ill and traveling a great deal for medical expenses, she made a barn quilt in honor of him and to raffle in support of him to help raise money for that travel. So here's the barn quilt she made for that, and she says that she sought out a traditional pattern that she could adapt to the shape of blacksmithing tools so that she could highlight something about him and his master craftsmanship and his passions and who he was, and at the time to support him as he was seeking medical care. So she made this barn quilt and raffled it. Kirk Perry of Colton, New York, who also knew John and learned a great deal from him, won the barn quilt and keeps it in his honor. So this is a case where someone made a barn quilt both to show their love and support of someone and specifically to raise money to support them and their needs. So there are all kinds of ways that people use barn quilts to do that, not always that formal, sometimes more just by storytelling and sharing between people who love each other, or making them for others to share and display. But we just wanted to share a little bit about that element of barn quilts, and next time we'll look at some other elements of the exhibit. Thanks for joining us today.